Black churches back embattled Smithsonian African American Museum after Trump's order. The museum tells the history of slavery and segregation while also highlighting the determination and success of Black Americans through history. So this is a photo of the museum. So that's Pastor Robert Turner, who walks past the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington on April the 16th of this year. So, as part of his monthly walk from Baltimore to Washington to raise awareness of reparations as well. So this is out of the Associated Press. As he does one day each month, Reverend Robert Turner hit the road from his home in Baltimore last week and traveled on foot 43 miles to Washington. He arrived by evening April 16 outside of the White House carrying a sign calling for reparations now. So this time, Turner added another stop on his long day journey, the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Turner knelt in prayer and laid a wreath at the entrance of the museum in support of its mission, which incurred President Donald Trump's criticism alongside other Smithsonian Institution sites. So on March the 27th, March 27 executive order, Trump alleged that Smithsonian's exhibits had disparaged the nation's history by way of divisive race-centered ideology. So Turner wanted to show support for the museum, which opened in 2016 is when it opened, and received its 10th millionth visitor in 2023. So the museum tells a history of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and its lingering effects. But it also highlights the determination, successes, and contributions of Black Americans and Black institutions in America. So I laid my wreath down there to show solidarity with the museum and the history that they present every day, said Turner, pastor of Empowerment Temple African Methodist Episcopal Church in Baltimore. He said that his church has been committed to becoming a museum member. And he encouraged church members to do the same. So membership costs $25 a year, which is not that bad, according to an online form on the museum site. So his church is not alone. Other predominantly Black congregations are taking similar steps as well. So clergy calls for support. Turner said that he got the idea from Reverend Otis Moss III of Trinity United Church of Christ in Chicago, whose church also joined the museum and who urged members to do the same. For only $25 a year, you can protect Black history, Moss told his church. Two other Black pastors told the Associated Press that they also supported the effort. One was the Reverend Jackie J. Lewis, senior minister at Middle Church in New York City, so home to a multiracial congregation affiliated with the United Church of Christ. We belong to the museum since its opening, and we just made another donation to them in light of the administration's policy, she told the Associated Press. So the gift, she said, was $1,000. Easter love donation. So Bishop Timothy Clark of the First Church of God in Columbus, Ohio, said that he would be emulating Moss in making an appeal to his predominantly African American congregation. So our grandson is in D.C. on a field trip, so Clark said in an email. So the highlight of the trip has been the visit of the museum to the museum. So Trump's order didn't specifically talk about budget cuts, though it tasked our Vice President J.D. Vance, a member of Smithsonian Board of Regents, by virtue of his office, to lead the effort to purge improper ideology, as they quote unquote say it is, or claim it is. So from such institutions, so he pledged to restore Smithsonian Institution to its rightful place as a symbol of inspiration and American greatness. So critics say that he's trying to force a distorted national narrative that glosses over slavery and other historical wrongdoings. So pastor marching for reparations. So Turner said that he has been making his walk to Washington one day for each of the past 31 months. So he's calling for the U.S. to make reparations for the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, and other systemic sufferings inflicted on Black American people, ranging from housing, medical discrimination, and mass incarceration. So when he was previously a pastor in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he similarly demonstrated for reparations for the 1921 race massacre. So Turner said that when he arrived last week outside of the White House, a crowd of visitors was milling about, and one child noticed his sign, asked a parent, "What is reparations?" So that, to me, is a perfect manifestation about why we need to be teaching more true history of America, or an American history, and not taking away certain subjects because they make people feel uncomfortable, Turner said. Moss, in a social media post, held out hope that the museum could continue its current course, noting that Vance is just one member of the board only. Trinity has long been socially active with a wide array of community outreaches, and Moss described it as a church that is unashamedly black, unashamed of being black, and unapologetically Christian. So former President Barack Obama had been a member of Trinity but resigned during the 2008 campaign, citing divisive statements of its previous pastor, Reverend Jeremiah Wright, while affirming the black church tradition of speaking out against injustice. So Democrats criticized the executive order. The African American Museum, one of the 21st Smithsonian museums, has also seen a recent shakeup in leadership. So Shanita Beckett, who was previously the head of the operations at the museum, has been widely reported to be serving as an interim director. So Kevin Young, a poet and scholar of African American history, left his role as the museum director in early April following a leave of absence, according to a notice to the staff. So the museum did not return AP's request for comment this week. So on Friday, Democrats on the House Administration Committee, which has oversight over Smithsonian Institution, expressed concern over executive orders in the letter addressed to Vance. So this flagrant attempt to erase black history is unacceptable and must be stopped, said the letter signed by Representatives Joseph Morrell of New York, Terry Sewell of Alabama, and Norma Torres of California. The attempt to paper over elements of American history is both cowardly and unpatriotic, the letter said. So this is what is happening to the American Smithsonian African American History Museum.